Welcome to Weekly Lift. I am Latoya, and I am excited to be continuing this conversation in our Cultivating Harmony series about creating a practice that really aligns with who you are and the intentional impact you want to have beyond a particular goal or an outcome. In episode 1, No Resolutions 2024, we really focused on the importance of not thinking about this goal that you need to achieve or this thing you need to check off as a task, but more about what practices can you incorporate into your life that would really support your well-being, that would support your wellness and connection, and more importantly, would give you a sense of peace and calmness as you kind of go through your life. So I want to go back and revisit some of those grounding definitions provided, because it's really important that we're on the same page about what is harmony, why are we looking at it in this way, and it will help us to really craft what our practice is going to look like moving forward. So we utilized a couple of definitions, but for this episode, I'm just going to highlight two that we really focused on. The first is from Catherine Chapman, and she wrote, "Harmony, it is a process of positive internal communication, belief work, and securing your joy in that which is constant and unchanging." And so I want to pull that apart just a little bit because we're going to talk about balance, and I think this definition is really important to that. Positive internal communication. Now, I know if you're on social media or if you've ever been in therapy or if you have picked up a self-help book, then you know affirmations are critical. Positive statements that kind of reinforce or support the intended outcome you want for your life, to build your self-esteem, to help you problem solve, to help you get clarity and focus. And I think that obviously as a therapist, I believe in positive affirmations, and I really do believe that we speak what we want. We can manifest in our lives whatever we are speaking out. But a couple of years ago, I was working with a young girl. She had to be about 14 years old, and we were working on affirmations. She struggled with anxiety and low self-esteem, and we were coming up with positive affirmations to support her rebuilding her self-esteem and really securing what would be her identity. And we had an affirmation: I love myself. Very basic, very standard, probably gonna be something that you will be encouraged to say in therapy. And she said, okay, and she hesitated, and I said, okay, what's going on? And she said, well, what happens if you don't believe the affirmation? And I said, okay, that is a valid question. Part of saying affirmations is so that you get yourself to a place where you can believe it. So what do you believe about that statement? And she said, well, I don't love myself. I said, okay, well, do you like yourself? And she said, no, I don't like myself. Okay, well, is there anything that you're proud of about who you are as a person? And she says, well, yeah, I'm smart and I'm a hard worker. And I said, well, we'll start there. And I think that is so important when we're talking about positive internal communication, because you are always in your head. You know the negative statements and you know the positive statements that are popping into your head, and the things that you say to yourself when you make a mistake. And we can't just jump over that because we want to have greater self-esteem and greater self-worth. We have to be honest with ourselves too. And so the goal with positive internal communication isn't to say things to yourself that you don't believe, because if you don't believe it, no matter how many times you say it, it won't manifest. It's about starting from a place of, what do you believe? And so that is also in this definition. So we start with positive internal communication. So saying things about ourselves to ourselves that are going to lift us, that are going to affirm where we're trying to get to. And then really spending time on that belief work. What do we truly believe is possible for ourselves? And this is why therapy is a great idea. This is why having really good social supports is important, because you may not see the potential. You may not believe that you have potential, and someone else who knows you could definitely say, well, you know what, I think that you're really compassionate, or I think you're a problem solver, or you make people feel good. And you need to hear that so that you can create your affirmations or positive internal communication that is going to reflect a lifted spirit about yourself. So we don't want you to just, I am the master of the universe and you don't believe that, or I can get straight A's. Whatever the positive internal communication you have, it should be reflective of belief work that you are doing about yourself. So really raising up the characteristics, the strengths you have, and really working to overcome what might be limitations. The second definition says that harmony is an intentional effort to create and maintain cooperation and understanding across all aspects of life. And I love this definition because it starts with one of my favorite words, intentional. Intentional means that it isn't something that you're fallen into. It isn't something that just happens because you want it. It's something that you invest in, that you are prioritizing, that you are bringing to the forefront of your mind, that you are focusing on, that you are consistently working on and nurturing. And I'm going to say that word again, nurturing. You have to nurture effort and positive attitude and positive belief in yourself. It is an everyday thing, because one mistake can make you feel like you've not done enough. So intentional effort is, even in the moments when it's chaotic, even in the instances where you haven't quite gotten where you want to, you still maintain positive belief. You still maintain that the understanding that you will get through this. Harmony is a choice. There's no other way to look at it. It is a choice you have to make every single day, despite of and in spite of setbacks, rejection, disappointments, and even whatever you might perceive as a failure. But choosing harmony is very different than goal setting, because goal setting has an endpoint. Harmony does not have an endpoint. It is a practice. It is a practice that should evolve with you. Right now, your harmony practice might be focusing on your medical health and really thinking about seeing your doctors and managing your nutrition and getting more active. And the investment that you're making in that area may take away from relationships. You can't go to all the cookouts. If you're like, you have a grandmother like my grandmother, if you don't eat what she's cooking, she thinks that, oh my goodness, do you think I'm trying to poison you? And it's like, no, I just can't eat all this butter. It doesn't go with the nutritional goals and the harmony I'm trying to create in my healthcare. But so you may have to pull back a little bit from engaging in some activities. That doesn't mean that you don't have harmony. That just means that you understand that at this point of your life where you're at, this area needs to be prioritized, and that it lends itself to alignment with the overall impact that you want to have, the lifestyle you want to lead, and the comforts that you want to enjoy. Balance is interesting because we hear it all the time. We're supposed to be balanced, we want to pursue balance, and often pursuing balance makes us feel very inadequate, because I don't know a single person who lives a balanced life. I know people who live a full life, a rich life, a chaotic life at times, but I don't know anyone who lives a balanced life. But we're always trying to achieve that work-life balance, family-friend balance, fun versus the routine and productivity balance. And the truth of the matter is that when we seek balance, what we're really seeking is control. We're seeking to get some formula just right so that we don't have to experience rejection, so that we don't have to experience a setback, so that we don't have to feel like things are happening around us and we have no control over what those things are. But balance is impossible because it requires the achieving of equal distribution, of focus, of attention, of effort, of priority. And it just is not possible. If your child gets sick this week, whatever goals you may have had for work, whatever goals you may have had for your health, for vacation, it all changes, because you need to be able to evolve and adapt to that change. So it's impossible to achieve balance. But when we try to pursue it, what happens is we feel like, I must have failed. And then those emotions pop up. You feel burned out because you're trying so hard. Okay, get up at 5 o'clock, even though you didn't get to sleep until 11 because you were working on a project that really needed your attention. But you got to get up at 5 o'clock because you got to go to the gym, because you got to make sure that you're hitting that goal. And in reality, the harmony that you need at that moment is sleep. You probably need to rest to allow yourself to recover to go on with the next day. But when you get very rigid with trying to achieve balance, then you don't allow yourself to really pay attention to what's happening. You can experience resentment. You could become angry with the things that you are pursuing, with the relationships, with your work. And of course, that can impact your emotional state. It can impact how you're engaging with others. It can impact truly if you're even going to continue. And then that can result in abandonment, where you just say, forget it. And again, this is where New Year's resolutions fall apart, because you're trying so hard to create this perfect balance that will get you to all these goals. And at some point you realize, I just can't do it. I can't do it. And instead of looking at it as, it just doesn't, my life does not function in this perfect vacuum of what I wrote on this paper, it becomes, I must not be good enough. I must not be what I think I am. And you abandon whatever those pursuits are going to be. And I think this happens to people a lot of the time. Endurance is such a critical skill, a characteristic needed, because endurance allows you to continue even when things are not necessarily going to show up the way that you want it to. And harmony allows you to really see, where should you be enduring? Some things you should walk away from because it doesn't align with who you truly are. And some things you should continue to pursue because it just is going to take longer, but it's going to get you where you eventually want to go. But also, when we think about balance, because it is an equal distribution, you have to ask yourself, is an equal distribution truly necessary in all aspects of my life? So if you have 24 hours in a day and you sleep between 6 and 8 hours, so then that leaves you with, 16 hours or more, depending upon if it's 6 or 8. How do you break that up? Are you giving people 2 hours? Everybody gets 45 minutes. That would be utter nonsense. Not everybody needs to talk to you every day. Not every project needs your attention every single day. Not everything you do is going to require the same amount of time or focus or investment. So equal distribution is really an ineffective way of pursuing what would ever be the long-term outcomes that you're looking for. Harmony doesn't focus on equal distribution. Harmony emphasizes integration. So if you wake up in the morning and you are late because your body said, no, you're going to sleep an extra hour, you need it, then instead of being like, oh, this is so terrible, my whole day is off, it's more about, okay, think about how you feel. Do you feel more rested? Do you feel clear? Do you feel ready to meet the demands of the day? And if so, okay, prioritize. What really needs my time today? What would really be impactful for the overall outcome I'm trying to achieve, as opposed to really just being like, oh my gosh, I missed out on an hour of doing this thing over here. I am a big believer of going to sleep when you're tired. I just believe that. If I'm at work and I work a lot, and I'm really trying to reduce some of that work because it doesn't lend itself to the harmony I'm seeking. But if I'm tired, I take a nap. I disconnect for a little bit and give myself a brain break so that I can come back. Yeah, I took out that 30 minutes, and for some people they might say, well, that 30 minutes you could have been productive. But for me, I was productive. I did the thing my body needed most: rest, detachment for a minute, to allow me to recover, to come back stronger, to come back more focused, and to really be in alignment with the outcome. So I'm going to give you a homework assignment. I know, you're like, school, it kind of is. So what I want you to think about, because I know some of you kind of set some resolutions or some goals for 2024. I've seen it all over the internet. This is going to be the year you make $1 million. Okay, right, fine. But think about, what would a harmonious day look like for you? Take some time, close your eyes, really think about that. If you could wake up just feeling with like I am in harmony with myself, what time would you actually wake up? What would you actually do to start your day? What would you eat? How much time would you spend at work? What would you do after work? Think about that and then jot it down, and then look at your schedule for the upcoming week and see how closely is your actual schedule in alignment with the schedule you would do if you were living a harmonious day. Some of you, it's going to be very close. Others of you, it's going to be totally different. We understand that we have to work. Some responsibilities are going to be what they're going to be. So don't be rigid and say, I would just not do anything, because that's not realistic. So be realistic about, yes, the demands, the roles and responsibilities you have in your life. But if you could alter them a bit to really be in alignment with harmony, how would that look for you? I know for me, I naturally get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I actually get up probably 10 to 15 minutes before my alarm goes off at 5 o'clock. I'm a morning person. Staying up late takes me out of harmony. So think about it in that way. Maybe you're not a morning person, and so getting up at 5 is too much. Maybe you really do need to get up at 7 o'clock so that your body is more in harmony and in alignment to kind of go and do what you needed to do. And if that is the case, then really think about what are some small steps, small changes you can make to get in harmony with yourself and the intended outcomes you have. I really hope this has been beneficial for you. Please come back for next week. I think our next episode is actionable alignment. I'm really looking forward to that one. And hopefully this helps to support with your harmony practice. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear what you have to say, and have a wonderful rest of your week.